Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Carolyn. Today I'm going to address one of the many questions that I get constantly, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or even under videos, and that is, what type of cookware do I use? I get that question constantly, so I decided today to pull a few pieces, and that way I can show you what I've been using and also explain to you how I go about shopping for cookware and some of the specs that I look for. I am not the end-all, be-all authority on cookware, but I do know what I like, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So let's just jump right on into it. And let me start by saying that I have three sets of cookware. I have three types of cookware that I use. I use hard anodized non-stick. I have some stainless steel, and I love cast iron. So I'm going to start with the non-stick. And the company that this particular non-stick cookware comes from is Cook's Essentials. Cook's Essentials is a huge company, and all the cookware that you're going to see today, let me tell you also that it's about 8 years old or older. Okay, so I'm just showing you this because so when you see stuff like this, that's because it's been used a lot. I've really put my cookware to the test. So I'm going to pull this saucepan first. Like I said, it's from Cook's Essentials, and this is their hard anodized aluminum non-stick cookware. I love this cookware. One of the first things I look for is if my cookware is oven safe. That means, does it go from the top of the range right into the oven? That is a must for me. If the cookware does not do that, I don't want to play. I don't buy it at all. When I make spinach dip, put my onions and garlic, and I do the spinach and everything, all that cheese, you know, cheese can get stuck on some cookware. All that cheese and stuff, I don't have to transfer it to another, baking dish. I just put the lid on it, and it has stainless steel lids. I put the lid on and slip that right into the oven. Save myself a dish right there. That's less to wash. So that's why I love this cookware. So oven safe up to about 375 degrees. So when you see that on the specs, that's letting you know the maximum temperature. So if it says 350, that's as high as you should go and obey the warranty. If you go higher, that means you may lose some of the integrity of the cookware. So think about that. The second thing I look for in cookware is how it's constructed. This particular cookware is constructed where the heating element on the bottom when you're cooking is the same type of material on the sides here. So that way you got even cooking all the way around. When you're cooking certain things, when you stir, you're going to notice it's going to get hot faster. That's one thing I noticed about this cookware really fast. And I noticed when the water starts to boil, bubbles form not only on the bottom, but they also form on the sides. That lets you know that pretty much the same construction that's down here on the bottom of the pot is the same on the sides. Let's talk about handles. That is a major decision-making thing for me. When you look inside the cookware right here, look how the handles are riveted on. You want to see this. You don't want to see bare screws on the inside. If you could see like a screw right inside, stay away from it. One, that means that the handle eventually is going to become loose. And when you buy certain pieces, I've seen people get a screwdriver and they're trying to, screw it back in. That meant the cookware wasn't supposed to last you that long anyway. If you see these rivets inside and they're connected here, just like that, that means the handle is going to be good. It's not going to go anywhere, and it offers a sturdiness to the cookware. The way the handle is, it has two prongs here. It goes up and out. That means that the handle is less apt to get hot. I'm telling you, when these handles get hot, dangerous situation, and you're going to have some injuries. But you want to think about that when you buy the cookware. You know how we're supposed to turn the cookware handles away from the stove? If it gets hot just in general, you got to remember that. That's one thing you got to think about. Am I going to always have to be conscious of put a pot holder, wear a pot holder? I don't want to necessarily be thinking about that all the time. So I look at how my handles are riveted to the vessel itself. Okay? Now, of course, when you turn the pot over another eye on the stove and that eye happens to be on, of course it's going to get hot. But think about that. They also have handles that have silicone on them now. So you want to read the specs to make sure if that silicone can go in the oven, because sometimes that silicone won't be able to stand certain temperatures depending on how they've made it. So read that closely also. That's why I just like straight metal handles, and I just go with that. The other thing is the non-stick coating Metal safe, because I have a lot of metal utensils that I like to use, and I don't want cookware, non-stick cookware, that's going to glue me down to silicone utensils and wood utensils. That's just not going to work for me. So I look for that. It'll say in the specs, metal utensil safe. This particular cookware was made to withstand that. And that was another thing that attracted me to it. Now, if you got some anger management issues and you're going to be going in there hard with a metal utensil, don't bother. Don't bother. You'll learn how to, deal with your non-stick cookware, but you still want to be gentle with it at the same time, even though it can withstand your metal utensils. One of the last things you might want to think about is the cookware dishwasher safe? Some cookware will tell you hand wash only, or they'll say dishwasher safe. Now for me, I pretty much hand wash my dishes, my pots and pans all the time anyway. I'll put dishes in the dishwasher, but my pots and pans, I choose to wash them by hand. That way they last me longer. The non-stick cookware with the coating on the inside is really great for your cheesy items. It comes right out. If it doesn't wipe out with just a regular sponge or a towel, you might have a problem. That non-stick is probably not working to its best ability. You want non-stick to where you can cook the cheesiest item or the stickiest sugary item like caramel or something like that. You want to be able to cook it in there and not worry about it. Once you're done, you want to be able to pour it out, rinse it out, and go about your business. So also consider that. Now here, as you can see, it does have the wear and tear. So on the outside, it may not look that attractive, maybe even ugly to some. But I love it. I'm not going to get rid of it just yet. And I'm going to make, an investment soon. But it's worked for me over 8 years now, and I love it. Now let me show you, when I was talking about handles, let me show you this piece. On this particular piece of stainless steel that I have, this is another pan that I've used. Let me show you this handle right here. When we're talking about handles, see how this handle is riveted on really well, right here. And then on the inside, you see right here. So that's good, right? Well, what happened when I bought it, I found out the handle is so close to the vessel itself that it got hot. As soon as I start cooking on the stove with it, these handles on this particular cookware that I have, they get really hot. And so I learned that very quickly, once again, leaving a layer of skin on this handle. And I decided, okay, I always have to be conscious. Use my pot holders or a kitchen towel and throw it over so I know I won't burn my hand. So that's what made me start looking for handles that came up and out, or they were two-pronged, things like that. Made it much easier. It's still good cookware and I use it, but I know what I'm doing when I use it. When you use stainless steel like this, stainless steel can withstand, for the most part, higher temperatures in your oven. So you can use them for roasting things and all that kind of good stuff. Whether you have a convection oven, a conventional oven, it's going to withstand higher heat. So when I want to do, roast in the oven or some chicken, and I want to get it done at 400, 425, then I'm going to grab either cast iron or my stainless steel, because I already know it's going to handle the job, it's going to work it out, and I'm not going to have that much trouble cleaning it either, because stainless steel pretty much cleans well. A little soapy hot water, you're good to go. Cheesy items, you might want to check it out, see if it's going to work for you. After you finish scrubbing, you might decide, oh, I'll never do that again. But I love this piece, and as you can see, it has a handle here. One of the things too, when you're bringing it out the oven, if the weight is too heavy, you have a safety handle here so you're not putting extra strain on your wrists and arms, okay? Now the counterpart to this particular skillet, I do have it in non-stick from Cook's Essentials. It's part of that same set that I showed you. Same thing. This is my non-stick handle, riveted on, comes up and out. It's also riveted on the inside, okay? And then over here, I have the other handle here as a way to keep my weight even when I'm bringing it in and out of the oven. This is what I pull out when I'm making cheesy quesadillas for my nieces and nephews when they come over. Easy to clean, wipe it out, I'm good to go. I've baked lasagna in this particular piece. I remember when I first bought it, that's the first thing I did. I said, oh, I'm gonna put this cookware to the test all right. They were talking about it, and I'm like, because if I don't like it, it had a warranty and I could send it back and get my money back. Well, I did that. I baked the cheesiest lasagna in here. It was overflowing practically. Put it in there and man, it came out beautifully. So I've had the cookware ever since. I trust it. And of course, keep it nice and clean. And also, if you have family members in the house using cookware, you want to educate them on how to take care of the cookware. And I'll tell you a little bit of how I learned how to do that with my cast iron. One of the last things you want to make sure with your nonstick cookware is when you're washing it out, a little soap and hot water in your regular sink, you want to make sure that you inspect the cookware as you wash it, just to make sure none of it is peeling or you don't have little curls starting to come up. You want to inspect it. Look at the pan when you're washing it. Switch the water around and then rinse it out really good, and just kind of run your hand along the insides and edges of the cookware to make sure that this nonstick coating, if it's made to be durable, make sure it's doing just that. If you start to see curls in it to where the coating is start to come up, you want to make sure that that's not happening. If that's happening and you're still under warranty, send it back. Second thing, if you've had it a while and it's starting to do that, throw it out. You don't want any of that particular coating, any coating ended up in your food, because if that's starting to happen, chances are you're going to have some of that coating end up in your food. So throw it out. Now let's talk about the Stockpot in the same Cook's Essentials set. This particular Stockpot I love to make my greens in, or have my slow cooked beans, things like that, soups and stews. It's really efficient. I love it. Same construction. The heating element on the bottom and the way it's constructed with the aluminum is on the bottom is the same on the side. So I get lots of even cooking, and I love it as far as when I stir the food, I know it's getting cooked all the way through and it's heating up faster. When I don't want to watch my greens or my beans or something that I'm cooking on top of the stove, if I really want to walk away, I'll turn around and treat this like a Dutch oven. I'll take it off the top of the stove and I'll put it right in the oven. I've done that before. So I want to slow cook this today. I don't want to stand over a hot stove. So I put the lid on because stainless steel can withstand the heat. This particular stainless steel can is 1810 stainless steel. Put it in the oven. I'm ready to go. I've done that with greens before, and I've made braised greens in the oven, cooked them in the oven. Not a problem. Now let's move on to our black cast iron. Here is my fryer, my basic 12-inch fryer. As you can see, it also has a good weight to it. It's nice and heavy. And then how I take care of this particular piece, and I think this piece is made by The Lodge. You can look them up. I think I'll provide a link below. What I have to do to keep this particular cast iron seasoned is to take vegetable shortening and rub it all over in the inside of the cookware and on the outside. And then I also include the handle. You also want to include the handle when you're giving it this treatment. In a lot of cases, cast iron is going to get more love than some babies, okay? Because of the fact that you have to keep it seasoned for it to do what you need it to do in the kitchen to get the full benefit of it. So you're going to keep it seasoned that way, and in a lot of cases, when you really want it to get baked in, what you're going to do is put it in the oven at about 375, sometimes 400, and just let it bake, just like you would anything else. The cookware, just leave it empty and put it on in the oven. The proper way to keep your black cast iron clean is to use hot water only and a little scrub pad that doesn't have any soap in it. And just clean it out. Over time, using soap, detergent, and bleach in your cast iron just slowly just defeats the purpose of you seasoning it, and it removes it. And then your pan or your cast iron pans or grill pans, over a period of time, they're going to become, for the lack of a better word, ashy. Okay, they're going to look like they need some sort of lubricant. They're going to look grayish almost. And how I found that out was the fact that my brother and I, he would come to my house and cook, and I knew how to take care of my cast iron. Well, he would go behind me, cook what he wanted, and then he would scrub it out nice and clean with a lot of detergent and hot water, and I'd go back and look at it. I'm like, what is wrong with this pan? Come to find out, that's what he was doing. So I had to educate and show him how to take care of the cookware so that wouldn't happen. All right, now let's take a look at my cast iron grill pan. I absolutely love this pan for grilling my chicken and my steaks, but this is also the same pan that my brother got his hands on. So what I do now is I give it a little extra attention when I'm washing it and when I'm cooking in it. So when I'm washing it, I just take the hot water running from the faucet and let it run in there, and I scrub it with a little green pad, getting in there in between those grates really good, turning the pan so I can actually see if I'm missing anything. And if I still don't feel it's clean enough, I'll fill it with water about halfway, and then I'll turn around and put it on the stove and let it come up to a slow boil. Letting it come up to a boil is that water, that hot water, or that boiling water, is calling up any bits of food and any oils that don't belong in the pan. And as you can see, it doesn't look very pretty, but it is doing the job. So then after that, give it a good rinse out, and then make sure it's dry and ready for its next use. And of course, during the course of time, if you think it may need an extra vegetable oil treatment, then go ahead and give it that extra love so your pans can last you decades, and you can even pass them down to some of your children. Well guys, I think that's it. We went over some of the pieces that I have, and I hope that answers some of your questions on cookware anyway. I think I like doing these question and answer sessions because a lot of you may have the same question, and this is a way to get the question out there and get an answer where everybody can hear it at the same time. So if you like that, you want to send your questions to me, and I do segments like this, thumbs up this video and I'll know to try to incorporate those in the regular cooking shows, alright? So I'll see you guys next time.